HITSFU is the secret knowledge of making your app a hit.
All right.
So that's kind of where our name comes from. And we help app developers turn their apps into hits, and we use proprietary AI to help them make the two most important decisions, which is what features should go into your app and what ad campaigns should you be spending money on.
Oh, I love it. And today, obviously, there's so many app companies or companies that are also producing apps, not only for their own business, but to make money from their customers in a different way, in a new way.
Yeah.
And not all of them have knowledge about how to make that app successful or even how to measure the data that's coming out of it.
Yeah, everybody interacts with apps, loves the experiences. But right now, only a few companies really understand what they're doing, when it comes to making apps successful. So when a lot of smaller players or even medium-sized players go in there with $1 million or $2 million budget to build their app, they don't know that they have a disadvantage. And so we fill that gap with our AI recommendations and our tooling that helps them do something called A/B testing. A/B testing is really important, and that's giving different users different experiences to measure which experiences help you the best.
Or more effective or more profitable.
That's right, that's right. And our analysis is about maximizing how much money that app is going to make given picking the right A/B test variants. And right now, there are a lot of A/B testing tools out there, but they rely on manual analysis, and that's just not good enough. You have to pay an analyst, and they're statistically noisy, and they're not at the event level. So an analyst is looking at these kind of aggregate things, and
not always based on a sort of true calculation that is or an algorithm as you described.
Yeah.
That brings it all together.
That's right. Yeah, we bring it all together, and we find that can be a really powerful way of moving the needle for our customers.
So you have a background that is not only in the software development or apps space, but also entertainment.
That's right.
It's been entertainment apps, really.
Yeah, certainly.
So take me back to sort of how you got into that space.
Sure. I mean, I started out in games. I've been building games for a long time. And about 7 years ago, a company called Playdom recruited me and moved me up north, and I had a great time with them. We got acquired by Disney for $500 million, and it was just a great environment, startup space. But we didn't really have a repeatable method for making our games successful. So one of the things I helped them build was a content management system and for our apps. And what that did was let us data drive every detail of every feature, which in turn let us run A/B tests without needing to use engineers. And as we ran those tests, that game started making more and more money, and eventually, it made $50 million and became Disney Social's second biggest revenue generator at the time. Yeah.
Wow. So the category that you're providing is really AI, and it's really data science.
Certainly,
that you're providing, and that's the service you're providing. But it's almost consultative in a way as well, because you have that experience and you have people that have expertise in the field. So you really can provide that benefit both from a personnel standpoint as well as technology.
That's right. No, we try to do that for all of our customers, is give them kind of the expertise that we have acquired just from making apps more successful. We've gotten to see a lot of things and have our own little best practices,
I like some of the words you used, and definitely expertise is one of them. And when companies when people are looking to jump into entrepreneurship, jump into a startup, jump into developing their own company, you have to think not just about a good idea.
Yeah.
You have to think about an idea that you have expertise in.
Yes. No,
because
definitely.
That's the ones that you're going to be the most successful with.
I fully believe that. Coming out of college, I tried a couple of startups, but I didn't have expertise. And then I kind of went back to the drawing board, and 10 years later, after having made money for companies and making a significant amount of money, then it's like, okay, now we can put this together and take it to the next level and offer something.
What were some of those startups about? What were the kind of things?
Yeah, no, I had one startup called CG Tech, and we tried to get into the casino business with, you know, taking it online in 2002, Flash games, and it's actually a big thing now. There's a lot of gaming companies that, you know, have taken casino stuff online.
I play poker online, don't worry.
Yeah. But at the time, there was so much I didn't know about the business, you know, where given some time in the field, that really helped out. That really,
yeah. You got to know who to talk to, and I think that's it's the right conversations and understanding what the needs are, and the more expertise you have in a field, the more you know those needs.
Yeah. So sometimes it's knowing what to do, but sometimes it's also just having the Rolodex, being able to call people, getting mentorship, and knowing, you know, who actually can help you, because sometimes you get bad mentorship.
So you had that, but you had the expertise and you had the background with Playdom and Disney.
Yeah.
So when you were working for Playdom, were you working actually at Disney when the company was sold, or did you leave as soon as it went to Disney?
No, I stuck around.
Okay.
I stayed for another couple of years.
So I was thinking that's not only important, but when you make that step, you're now taking all of that knowledge and history with you. And who were some of the people that, when you made that transition, were right there to sort of jump onto the team?
You know, there's so many people. This morning I had a conversation with a guy named Dave Holt, who is my boss at Disney, and he is a mentor and just helping with, you know, everything we do. There's another guy named Rick Neal who worked with closely at Disney, and he's a guy who just knows everybody in the gaming space. So,
there you go.
You know, yeah, so I mean, to be fair, I would have to name about 20 other people.
All right.
But I'll stop there. You know.
No, you had a lot of support, but
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, one of the people that jumped on the team with you was your own sister.
Of course, yeah.
So how did that come to fruition? You were talking about this opportunity, and she was ready to support and do this with you.
You know, we have a relationship where there is no such thing as me doing something on my own or her doing something on her own. You know, if I'm doing it, she's doing it. If she's doing it, I'm doing it. We've always been close. We kind of had a childhood where we weren't always with our parents. We weren't always in an ideal situation, but we were always together. And so we've created these skills where, and they kind of transcend what you would look for on a pitch deck when you look at a team.
Of course.
But they're, you know, it's very special. It's just we know how to take care of each other and kind of add value. And I'm very fortunate that she's a brilliant attorney and negotiator, and she's one of the, you know, top-rated attorneys on numerous sites. And she, she's a thought leader in negotiation, and she's, you know, she's become a very impressive person. At one point, she was just my little sister, and now she's this, you know, amazing human being that I'm just really privileged to be able to work with. And
thank you, Ellie, because Ellie actually connected us, and the reason why you're on the show. So thank you, Ellie, out there. Well, family relationships always help that bond and strength of trust with co-founders. And one of the things I've heard as a story is that a lot of co-founders start to disagree and they have issues, and then that's why the business ends up failing. So I think you're on a right path.
Yeah, thank you. No, I definitely agree with that. I don't think there's too many people I would trust as a co-founder, just because it's such an important relationship. It has to be a very high trust relationship. As long as you're doing something worthwhile, you know, you want to make sure it's in good hands. Yeah.
So bring me back to your expertise on this space. You were actually programming these games yourself. You're creating them. How do you keep your inspiration, your creativity? What do you do to kind of inspire yourself to think of new ways of creating these games and this entertainment?
Yeah, you know, it comes from I hate to say this, a place of being competitive, of wanting to, you know, make sure that what you work on is seen and played by others, and just once you have a success under your belt, it becomes addictive. So you're always looking for things that give you the edge, especially when you know that good tools and good processes and they can actually make all of the difference. You know, there are things that make less of a difference. I think a lot of app developers are trying to cram features into their app, hoping that all of a sudden that feature is going to make them successful. But it's really the long game, the marathon, the doing things right, testing every assumption, blocking and tackling.
And that is actually a great word as well, as that long term, that long game.
Yeah.
Because a lot of startups, you got to make money. You're trying so hard to be successful, and you think if I don't make it in the next 60 days, I won't make it. But if you have that long-term vision and you make little action steps that get there, that move the ball forward, and you keep moving that ball, sometimes before you know it, you're farther than you ever thought.
That's right. Absolutely.
So how long have you been at it with HITSFU?
Yeah, we've been working on it for 4 years now, and kind of the first 6 months was me having all of these ideas about algorithms and getting them patented and just kind of applying for patents on my own. And then after that, it was like, okay, let's build something. So we built something. Then let's go get a customer. Got a customer. And then it was like, oh my gosh, we have to change a ton of our assumptions and basically rebuild. So kind of a V2, a V3.
What was the reasons why you had to go to that rebuild phase? Was it customer input?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And thinking about it, you just don't want to do too much until you get a customer. And that's kind of the paradox: is how do you get a customer if you haven't done too much? But whatever you've done before you get a customer, you're probably going to have to revisit. So,
yeah. I like that as well, because I know that a lot of again, entrepreneurs go through a startup phase where they're learning and they're always listening and learning and reading these podcasts, and this would be one of them. But I hope you're learning something out there from Iman here. But is trying to do too much at the first phase and not knowing when your pivot point is going to be.
Yeah.
And when you get a customer and you listen to your customer, and you have them sit next to you and you do that evaluation and say, how well am I performing? The answers are all right there.
The smartest startup quote I've ever heard is actually from Mike Tyson. And it's, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
You sound like this, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we learned is we came up with all of these assumptions, and it's the same with your startup or the app you're developing or whatever you're going after. You're probably wrong about a lot of those assumptions, but what can you do about that? You can document them and you can test them early, and when you find out that they're wrong, you can revisit and create a new assumption model.
Yeah.
That's the scientific method, and that's the best you can do.
Great quote, scientific method, and from Mike Tyson, you don't know if you're wrong until you get punched in the face. So, speaking of customers, I think we have a customer testimonial, a little video.
Yeah.
You want to run that? Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Over the past few months, we have been able to dramatically improve retention. The total time users now spend in our app is 6 times better, and we couldn't have done it without HITSFU. Within just a few weeks, HITSFU was able to tell us which A/B tests were best for our bottom line. The insights gained from these results helped our team become better product designers. Further, HITSFU also allowed us to better understand which marketing campaigns give us the best return on investment on our ad spends. For any app developer looking for profitability, use HITSFU.
There you go. So talk to me, Iman, what clairvoyance, I saw clairvoyance on there. Describe that and kind of what this testimonial was representing.
Sure. The clairvoyance is our product, and it's up at clairvoyance.hitsfu.com. And right now we have 4 customers as a part of our beta, and that was Dr. Linda Bradford, and she used clairvoyance for Fluent Worlds, and Fluent Worlds teaches people English in a 3D world. So it's a really cool app. Ooh. Yeah, and we took this whole idea of the scientific method and data driving every detail of every feature for Fluent Worlds, and the Fluent Worlds team ran a lot of A/B tests and basically went from 0 LTV, that's how much a user is going to pay you over the course of their lifetime, to an LTV greater than their CPI. So now they're making money on every ad spend, and and we saw a 6x improvement in how long users spend in that game. So it really speaks to the tools and the scientific method behind all of that working and being successful, and we're just really happy to be working with Fluent Worlds in the view.
Absolutely. And interesting too is that gamifying learning is a trend itself, and I think that's
right.
probably what she's doing too.
Yeah.
turning learning into something that's really fun to do, and being able to know how to keep it fun but still have that learning aspect in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, her thing is be where the learners are, and the learners are gaming, right? So you can't go from playing one of these AAA games to reading a textbook and feeling that like that's engaging. Yeah. But you can go into a 3D world and start to interact with things and learn words in context. And it's a really powerful concept, and we've seen some great learning results.
I can imagine. No, great customer testimonial. And speaking about learning, how do you continue to stay on top of this, constantly changing environment in terms of apps and what they're integrating is how does that impact what you've developed?
Well, I mean, we talk to a lot of people, and we read a lot of, read TechCrunch every day and read what everybody's up to, and blogs from a lot of smart people to try to understand where the business is going. But we also try to thought lead, right? So writing blogs and testing things out and
sure.
Publishing the results, like, hey, this actually works. I think that's equally important. So.
Yeah, and you guys are in a space, of course, you're in that trend of data science. And I mean, that everybody's talking about big data, and you're getting all this feedback, but what are you doing with it? So what your tool does is provides an insight to what you should do with it for your app.
Yeah.
And to know that, keeping in line with those trends, you also have AI. So you don't identify your company as AI. A lot of them have the .ai. You're sort of keeping that as just part of your algorithm. But talk to me about the intelligence aspect and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I love AI. I took the famous Coursera course where they teach you all about machine learning, and you're an expert walking out of that. And AI is really about mathematics. It's curve fitting. You find a curve that really fits the problem you're trying to solve, and you fit data to that curve. And so I fell in love with it and kind of went deep. And it helped me harness my mathematical background. My father's a PhD from UCLA and a professor in math, and we got to work together on the algorithm, which was really fun. And,
it's totally a family affair, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, at the end of the day, we're not doing deep learning, which is really cool, but takes a ton of data.
Sure.
So we're doing shallow learning, which I think is way more effective, because in our business, what's important is confidence quickly, right? We cannot wait 6 months to know what's going on with LTV.
Because your customers are in a development phase, and or they need to keep updating those things regularly.
The faster they make decisions with confidence, the faster they're going to improve their app
and make more money.
Yeah. So that's why we have we're really all about shallow learning, even though the trend is with deep learning. The cons there are you need more data, takes more time to get confidence.
Sure. So those are probably some of the bigger decisions, the longer term decisions that will affect your business as a whole versus the product.
Certainly. I think deep learning is great for self-driving cars and image recognition and things like that.
Things that are just volume is incredibly high.
Yeah.
So talk to me about where you're going from here in terms of your team. You're established here in Orange County.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You were talking also about the startup community here and how it's growing. So
yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I'm coming from the Bay, and we figured out really quickly that we can just do a lot more from a lifestyle perspective down in Orange County. So we moved back down here, and I've just been really blown away by the fact that there is a thriving startup community, and you can kind of see the momentum building. A lot of people are helping each other out down here. A lot of people are equally as ambitious as they are up north, but the big difference is you can actually live. You can actually have a place where you're not. You don't need a bunch of roommates to afford. So. No,
San
it's
Francisco
great.
is definitely very expensive.
And we don't have traffic down here, especially in South Orange County.
I think our LA viewers might disagree with that.
Sure. Sorry about that.
But yeah, so you're here in Orange County. How many people do you have on your team at this moment, and how have you acquired a lot of that talent?
Our team is, we have 4 people, and then we have about 4 different advisors that are really amazing advisors. And no, like you said, it's family, it's people I've worked with. You know, it's people that I know are really good at what they do. I think that's important because I think whenever you're getting that next team member, especially when you're early, there's a lot of risk there. You're going to empower someone so they could potentially derail if they, you know, if they're not amazing. So
yeah, you have to wear a lot of the hats when you're in a small team.
That's right.
Like you are. How do you create that sense of progress and showcase? I love to hear how, you know, founders and CEOs motivate their team. How do you keep that going and just, you know, showcasing that success and that pathway?
Yeah, you know, the one big trick I learned about management and motivating, I became good at those things, and it took a lot of effort. You know, somewhat early in my career, but the big turning point was when I said, well, if I hire right, I don't even have to be good at those things. You know, so if you find the right people, they're just self-motivated and you don't have to give the speech. I mean, you have to create a culture that is positive.
Of course.
You know, but given you have that, you couldn't get these people more motivated. They are as motivated as can be. They're fulfilling their purpose.
So Iman wants self-starters out there.
Yeah, please.
And those that are really smart in math as well, I'm sure that would benefit you.
Yeah, a couple of those.
So HITSFU has a presence online, hitsfu.com.
Yep.
Okay. And what about the future? How do you see yourself sort of growing in the next couple years, months?
Yeah, no, I think up until this point we were kind of in a lab. We're in beta with our customers. We're working out the kinks, and now we're looking at it like, okay, it's time to take this thing big. Let's go fundraise. Let's you know, make sure everybody knows our name who's in the business, and really help some app developers make the top 10 charts and do some great things.
Yeah, and just let's talk about the industry. How many different apps are there that could be potential customers for you?
You know, there's probably thousands, right? I think as long as you're in the top 1,000, you're going to do well. But then there's a lot of apps that are trying to vie for that spot. You know, so wherever they're at, as far as top grossing, we're going to help them get better. And so there's, you know, the app market. I think there's 1 million apps right now on the iTunes store, for example. So it's a pretty large market, but we're really interested in moving apps to profitability.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only that, but understanding the trends in that profitability, because every product has a lifespan, and so some of those may actually die off. You know, even if they are successful for a period,
definitely,
they have a lifespan and then they die off as well. So you can have some predictions to that as well. You can see those trends in the data.
Yeah, that's a part of what we do is understand that lifespan.
Lifetime value.
Yep,
and that's
exactly.
what it's all about. So it sounds like to me like you're in the right position. We talked about being in front of the trends, being in front of the curve. You're working with apps, and apps are blowing up. There's 1 million of them. They're 3 different platforms. Then, of course, you have that data science. You have the AI aspect. And really you're focused on helping your customers make more money.
That's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is making our partners successful.
Yeah. I always think about, you know, whether you're helping your customers save money or make more money. In your case, you're probably doing a little bit of both.
Yeah,
because you're helping them save on the engineering side, but then you're helping them make more money because they're putting in decisions that actually impact their revenue stream in a positive way.
Absolutely. They're going to, engineering time is going to go down. They're not going to need to hire analysts, and their decisions are going to be as good as they can be, as opposed to noisy. I
was like walking into, you know, when you talk about sales, you walk into a customer's a prospective customer, and if you can show them how much money you helped another customer make,
Yeah.
it's not really a sale.
No. Yeah.
It's more of a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That feels really good. Anything else that you might want to add, Iman, about HITSFU and about your startup journey?
Sure. I think a lot of people are interested in startups. Usually when I talk to these people, I tell them it's a longer road than you think it's going to be, and it's probably going to be more fulfilling than you think it's going to be. So that's, I hope that helps any of your viewers, and I would like to offer myself as a resource if anybody just wants to talk or explore any of these things we've talked about further. I just love meeting people and talking to new people, so please don't hesitate.
Your contact information in case anyone wanted to reach out?
Iman at HITSFU.com. IMAN at HITSFU.com.
And that's also their website as well as
Yep.
HITSFU.com for HITSFU. And if you're an app development company or software development or an independent software provider, you might want to look at his technology and see what they have to offer. I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
It's obviously a changing landscape, and you need to be ahead of the trends. And in order to be ahead of the trends, you have to know the data. And in order to know the data, you have to probably use partners like Iman here. So thank you so much, Iman.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on myStartUp.Live. I'm your host, Kevin Allen.